This week in algebra, we are dealing with solving equations. Now let's just do some basic reminders of how to solve things when you have just one step. One step means there's basically one thing you have to do to be able to get the variable by itself. Now remember, as we talked about in class, it's perfectly acceptable to take this and kind of rearrange it if you don't like the fact that the x comes second. So if you would like to rewrite it, x plus 2 equals 6. So as long as x plus 2 is on one side and 6 is on the other, you're fine. Now remember, our first step is to always get rid of anything that's added or subtracted, because we're working our way backwards in order of operations. So if it's plus 2 here, then I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides in order to get this by itself. These will cancel, be left with x. 6 minus 2 would be 4. So this would be our answer. Now remember, if you want to be able to check this, if this was the equation that I had as I was solving, then I can go through and I can take this 4 and I can plug it in here and check my answer out. So if I had 4 plus 2, it's supposed to equal 6, and it actually does, so it checks out. Okay, let's take a look over here. If I want to solve this problem, I would do add or subtract first, but I don't have any of that. If I look at this problem, negative 7 and x would be like multiplied together because they sit next to each other. So to get rid of multiply or divide, I would divide both sides by negative 7 to try to get that x by itself. Now in this case, the negative and the 7's will cancel. I'll be left with x. 28 divided by negative 7 would be negative 4. So this would be my answer. Now remember, if I'm going to check this answer, I should be able to do this on any problem that I do. If this is my problem, then my job now is to take this and plug it in for x to make sure that it works. So negative 7 times negative 4 is supposed to equal 28, which it does. So it checks out and then you know it's right. Now these are one-step problems. I either just have to add something, subtract something, multiply or divide something in order to find my answer. Let's take a look at some that require 2 steps. Now remember, just like we said before, if you don't like the variable coming second, you are welcome to put that first. So remember, we start by getting rid of add or subtract first. So there's a subtract 3. So the opposite of that would be to add 3 to both sides. So this cancels. So 2y equals 10. Then my job is to get rid of any multiply or divide. So I divide both sides by 2. And these cancel. So y equals 5. Again, you can go back and you can take this answer and you can plug it in here. And if you know that you get positive 7 as your answer, you're going to know you've done it right. Okay, in this one, I'm going to rewrite them like we did in class. A lot of you seem to like that variable to come first. But my first job is to get rid of any add or subtract. So there's a plus 2. So I'm going to subtract 2 to get rid of that value. So this will cancel out. M over 4 equals 8, because 10 minus 2 is 8. So if I'm looking at this problem, now I need to get rid of any multiply or divide. And I can see in this one there's a divided by 4. So the opposite of dividing by 4 would be to multiply both sides by 4. These 2 would cancel right here, and it would be m equals 32. Now part of our piece here in looking at these equations is learning to get x by itself, your m by itself, or your y by itself. You want to make sure you have, y equals something or m equals something when you're done. So it's always learning to do the opposite operation and kind of working back through PEMDAS, or your please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, backwards when you're solving your equations.